Hey guys, what's up? I'm Mike from Herp Collectors and the Herp Collectors Network. Welcome to the Epic Conference, and this is the podcasting track. This is the first session of this evening. We're going to be talking about using your voice to expand your reach via podcasting. We actually got industry insider coming in. His name's Chris Kitzos, and Chris serves as the Chief Creative Officer at Podfest Multimedia Expo, and that's a premier conference dedicated to the podcasting community. In Chris's role, he's been instrumental in orchestrating events that unite thousands of podcasters, fostering education, networking, collaboration within the industry. So this was a huge get for this conference. So definitely happy to have him here. And without further ado, let's bring Chris to the stage.
Mike, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm going to go through 10 tips for amazing video podcasts. So we do live in a world of video, especially in the animal community. Everything that's done there is visual. But the first thing I want to do is show a microphone that I use. It's called the Audio-Technica ATR 2005, and it has a USB connection. This is the easiest way to get started with a podcasting mic that literally plugs into your laptop. If your laptop doesn't have USB, you just need an adapter. And this is as easy as it gets when it comes to recording audio. This microphone's under $100. That being said, if you go online, you can find all kinds of choices, and the prices for a microphone could range anywhere from $30 on up to $1,000. But this $100 mic is an amazing one. So the first thing I want to do is just showcase a chart here I have. Podcasting years ago was usually an audio-only platform, and that's how people knew it. As of last year, YouTube, the majority of people are gaining their podcast through YouTube, and that is one of the largest areas of consumption. Spotify and Apple make up, in this chart, 33%, YouTube 31%. I would gather to say that in April of 2025, a year later, YouTube probably is well over 40-50% of consumption for people that are consuming podcasts. So that's really important to know, because that'll help you in how you create. One of the things that we recommend is, if you're going to make a podcast or a YouTube channel, is to use VidIQ. This is one of the top tools in all of YouTube, and it helps you create a title generator, suggested sorts, and a thumbnail analyzer. So this uses AI to help you be the best that you can be for your podcast. So again, it's vidiq.com. I've asked multiple creators, and the ones that are video based, almost 9 out of 10 use this tool. It basically helps you do the research of what to title your show, so people find them after you're done with the show. Super important. So in this instance, you'll see I went to the vidIQ generator. I'm wearing a Parrot logo hat, so I have Parrot Baby. It's a YouTube show that I do, as well as a podcast. But I typed in the word parrots, and right away it says, would you like to talk about teaching your parrot new tricks every week, parrot care tips and tricks, do-it-yourself parrot toys. So you can imagine, if your topic is chameleons, it might give you some chameleon topics, ball pythons, so on and so forth.
Just a question.
For me, let's just say I like, Daniel is a parrot owner. Maybe I'll talk about that.
Chris
I'll film
that you're
I
going to
actually
do a
did
Q&A. I'll
come
put the
see my
shot on with the
collection
two of you side
of
by
parrots,
side,
and
correct?
that got quite a few views. But it kind
Yeah,
of
that
gives
would
you an
work.
idea. For those of us that are in the audio world, if you're going to
Can you
upload
tell how
something
many
to Apple or
people are
Spotify,
in here?
I
one of the
cannot from
this
this
is just
view.
a trick
I think Chris
or a
can
technique.
actually.
If you name
No,
your show,
Chris will just roll.
so
Our
right now
project
there's in
manager
the bird world, there's a
can
lady that has the
actually
Parrot
tell that.
podcast.
I don't
Obviously, that's a very
have
obvious
that view from my
keyword-rich
side here,
title.
so.
I don't think
In
there's
this
going to be
situation,
Q&A
this lady
because
created the
we
meditation
disabled
for women, so you don't have to really guess who
So
the
there
show
shouldn't
is
be
Okay, I
for.
see.
Yeah.
Plus, it leads with the keyword
Alrighty,
meditation,
great.
which is what people are searching in Apple or Spotify, and that helps
Volume
you
back
get a
up.
natural amount of viewers, listeners, almost very quickly, because you're naming it. So in the Apple or Spotify algorithm, it's very basic, meaning if you name it what it is, you'll get views, you'll get listens. Whereas in YouTube, you can name your show whatever you want. It's per episode basis is how people are going to find it, per how the episode is tagged. On Apple or Spotify, people actually find the show on how the name of the show is tagged. So it's just a food for thought when you're creating. This is one of my favorite things. So when we're talking about podcasts, many podcasts are interview shows. This is Grant Steffens. He's a financial podcaster. But when he interviews, let's say he's filming his show and he's interviewing a guest, and the guest goes off on a tangent. If you haven't done this, sometimes people go off on a tangent and they talk for like 30 minutes instead of a 5-minute answer. What he'll do is, if the tangent is good, so let's say we have an animal expert and they talk about something that you didn't ask them, but it's really interesting, about the life cycle of some kind of insect or something that you didn't ask the question. What Graham does is, after the interview is done, he'll actually ask the question and then edit himself into the clip. So that way you actually have a question that then cues the answer. I just love that technique. I think that's a really great technique for you to always produce the best clips, because now you could take a really great clip and use it. If you never ask the question, it's really tough to just use a solo answer without you introducing it. Since it's your show, your brand, you want to be always a part of it. This is, and Mike, this is something I'm big on. Never apologize for asking tough questions. So never qualify your questions, especially as a podcaster. Don't ask, I shouldn't be asking this, but just ask the question and then wait with silence to hear the person answer. That's really important. So video is scary. One of the things that we've learned is, if you're scared on starting a video show, especially a video podcast, find a local studio. Now there's local studios that have popped up all across the world, in most cities, and it's pretty affordable. And let's just say you don't have a budget. What I would say is, save up enough to go into that studio and batch record 3-4 episodes, and see how you like it. And if you like it, then you could start setting up your own home studio. And the reason why I say that is, if you're doing a visual podcast, it does require some effort to make things look good. So I like right now, I'm in Asia right now, and we're about to fly to Vegas. In Vegas, there's the Vegas Content Studio. It's a great studio. They literally, you could go in there, record your podcast, and then they'll have 20, 30 clips that later that night that they could give you from your podcast, using AI tools that I'm going to talk about a little later. And you're ready, you're off in the races. So I really like that, because if you're stuck in thinking about it, hiring a local studio, you just get it done and you can just focus on your content. Okay. So when we're talking about video podcasts, you really have to have really good thumbnails. So this is a thumbnail is the image you upload for people to watch your show. And this is specific to YouTube. So you'll see here, this is my good friend, Gabe Aloisi. He does a golf review show. He literally will have 3 words or less as his rule, and he'll use a lot of symbols to make you say, oh, what is that? And then click on the show to watch. Without a good thumbnail, your views on YouTube especially are going to suffer. On Apple and Spotify, you don't have to really worry about it as much. You should still worry about it, but it's not as thumbnail driven as YouTube is. Here's another thumbnail. This is a financial show, so they lead with fear. If you could see here, everything is in the negative, and the reason why they do is that's how they get people to click. YouTube does catalog what's called click-through rate. At what percentage do people click through from the thumbnail to watch the video? And if you have a high click-through rate, they serve up your videos to more people, which is really cool. And the other thing that most people don't know is the YouTube algorithm actually uses artificial intelligence. And this is before like ChatGPT. They were using AI for years prior. And the AI actually reads your facial expressions. So if you see here, their facial expressions, he's got the Home Alone facial expression. Oh no, they got their hands up. That's all intentional, because the AI actually catalogs the facial expression and says, oh, that's fear. Oh, that's worry. And it actually gets points to be served up. So that's really, that's why you'll see thumbnails like that. One of the other things, Mike, and this is something that took me a while to learn. If you're recording a long form podcast, and let's say, when I say long form, it's an hour interview, an hour and a half, I don't know what it is. You need to start thinking about your segments and how you're going to be asking questions that could be clipped up for short form. So in this situation, the short form, this is the Valuetainment show. Patrick Bet-David interviewed Tom Brady, and his clips are around 10 minutes. The one clip's 13 minutes. So he asked questions specific during the long form interview that he knew he could clip up for people to watch short form. He asked a question: Are you driven? Were you motivated to get 7 rings to beat Michael Jordan's 6 rings? It wasn't a really great question, but what they probably did is tested that thumbnail before he ever asked the question. So a lot of people will have production meetings. Now, you might say, Chris, I don't have a production team to do this. You do actually. You could go on ChatGPT and ask, hey, what are the top 10 things people are asking about whatever it is animal you're talking about? And then you could take those questions and then from there distill it down to 2 or 3 questions that you might have that no one else might ask, because it'll help you produce and think about what you should be asking. So definitely use AI to help you create. It makes the process very easy, and it also gives you a leg up if you're a solo creator, which most people are. Okay, so this is the extreme version of thinking in short form. So Shannon Sharp has one of the largest podcasts on YouTube, and the reason is he thinks about short form while he's creating long form. So if you look here, he asked John Cena, "Hey, why were you naked in the Oscars?" They already knew that they would have a really good thumbnail for that. Or, "Hey, what's it like working with Vince McMahon or Brock Lesnar?" And if you look at some of these thumbnails, it'll have some famous people in it. So if you were interviewing an animal expert, let's say we're interviewing Bill Strand of the Chameleon podcast, and we're going to talk about chameleons. We might ask him, "Hey, what are the top 3 panther chameleons that you consider the most colorful? Or can you share about the largest chameleon in the world, the Parsons chameleon?" So every question I would ask would have a correlating a visual image I could put up on YouTube for the short form. So now that one interview might get 1,000 views, but the little clips might get 10, 20, 30,000. And I could also put them on social media. In the animal world, you could really grow your channel by using this method. It's probably one of the largest, easiest ways to grow your channel overnight. I always tell people, think outside the box when you're going viral. This past year, we had the Summer Olympics. What if you could create some content that dovetails with the Summer Olympics to help capitalize on people searching for Olympic kind of content? And in the animal world, you could actually take it to an extreme. So this is Forrest Gallant's show, Wild Times podcast. They actually had a conversation of what if animals competed in the Olympics. Very smart, very sharp. You'll see that I have the arrow pointing to it. The reason why this is really cool is every time the Olympics, winter or summer games come up, this video will be trending in some way, shape, or form with people searching Olympic content. So over the years, it'll get quite a bit of traffic. This is Bill Maher's Readily Random podcast, and I always like to ask people, is this a niche podcast? And most people will say yes, some people will say no. The answer is a Readily Random podcast is not a niche podcast, and because it's about readily random things. So the question I have for you is, why does Bill Maher have so many people watching his Readily Random show? The reason is he's been doing a TV show and he's been canceled. He was canceled in the 90s, actually. He was on ABC when it was just bought by Disney, I believe. He's been on for 40 years. So he's earned the right to have a show that's random. So why am I bringing this up in our context? If you create the everyday animal show about all animals, it's going to be very tough for you to compete and grab an audience, because there's some really great shows right now where they talk about animal facts. There's actually even clip shows. Like, they have clip shows where they sub out entire productions out to Asia where they're just creating fun facts. So it's very tough to compete with that kind of show unless you have a really great angle or great hook. So if you did like fun facts about winged creatures, or fun facts about chameleons, or fun facts about ball python mutations, the more niche you could be, the easier it'll be for you to grab market share. If your show is an interview show, obviously you want to focus on a segment in the animal community. And then once you grab that segment, you could grow from that segment. And I'm talking about a podcast specific. Obviously, everybody's unique and they have their own unique flavor. It just, if everybody's interviewing the same guest, in a podcast interview, I'm talking about what makes you special, what makes you unique. So you really have to think about that. And by the way, in our space, in the animal world, there's tons of opportunity, tons. So this is a show, the Danny Jones show, and he has about 3 different niches. But he started in 2016, 2017, which afforded him the ability to be a very broad-ranging show. So he has like government conspiracy theories, people that worked in the CIA, and then just really interesting extreme animal stories. So he has like 3 or 4 verticals that he works on. If I were to start a show today, let's say in his case, he'd have to start in one of those verticals and then earn the respect of that audience before he transitions out to another vertical. And the reason I'm saying that is if you have a video show on YouTube, they're trying to deliver your show to an audience. And the easier they could identify who your show is for, the easier they could match it up with an audience. And that gives you your first audience. And from there, you could earn their respect over, let's say, a year's time, making really great content. And then you could grow from that audience and slowly expand out. Unfortunately, the algorithm rewards niche content. It's just the way it works. These are people that created Pod Sound School. And the reason why I show you this example, you'll see that they have some videos with 300 views, 600 views. They create content that goes viral later on. So I wouldn't worry about how many views you're getting out the gate. I would just keep, running your pace, and just over time things will go viral. And as long as that's happening, you're in a good space. Here's the wild times. Because it's a podcast on YouTube, they make sure that you see their faces and the topic of the show. And you can see they have really great topics. Shark found in lake, which animal hunts animals, humans, were dragons real, do aliens exist, how to find extinct animals. So just really great things. You'll see underneath they had other thumbnails that they're working with. They settled with one where you could see people's faces. The reason is it's a podcast on YouTube, so they didn't want you clicking thinking you're going to see someone out in the field, because Forrest does he has a personal channel where he's out in the field visiting people. They wanted you to see the crew doing the podcast, so you knew what you were in for when you were clicking. I do use AI. So if you're stuck and you don't know how to use graphics, I would just use AI at this point. ChatGPT can make thumbnails. I would just Google what AI is the best right now at making images. It's changing because the competition is intense. But if you don't have a budget and you don't want to hire anyone, you want to make your own thumbnails, you could literally upload a picture, ask them to, massage it and edit it to where you're happy. This is a good friend of mine, Matt Wolf. He creates AI to create his thumbnails. It's very easy to do, and it's something we could all do. And it's getting even easier every day as we move forward. Lex Friedman, who does an interview, he keeps it very simple. He puts the face of his guest, the name, and the episode number. So the reason why I show you this, there's no one way to do anything. There's different avenues. My job is to give you choices, so that way you feel empowered that you can get this done and get it started. I do like a signature look. It makes things easy. So this is the All In podcast. They have a signature look. They show you the 4 faces and the episode number. The only time you won't see all their faces if they have a special guest. You see there they had a special guest. They gave him more of the real estate, and then the 2 hosts were off to the side. For AI tools in podcasting, Descript, Cast Magic, Adobe Podcast, Swell, ChatGPT. These are all some of the top AI tools. Highly recommend, if you're going to use AI for your podcast, to look at these. I know that a lot of the creators love Adobe Podcast, Cast Magic. These tools will do most of the work for you. So once you're done with an interview, you could upload it to these tools, and they'll literally create clips for you to share on social media. It's never been easier to start a show and get things done. Another really cool tool is Headliner. They're using video. We love Headliner. A lot of people are using CapCut to edit, as well as Opus Clips to create editable clips to share. Opus Clips is a real favorite right now. We're seeing a lot of people use it. That being said, there's so many tools, and it changes every day. I'm just sharing with you the most popular tools. You might find a niche tool that just came out that's better than tools I just shared, because AI is moving that fast that it's really tough to keep track of. We try and update our slides every month, but within that month, there's still updates that we don't catch on. One of the coolest things, Sticker Mules are coming to create stickers. If you've never used them, they're great. But they actually have a YouTube thumbnail templates where you could create YouTube thumbnail templates in Sticker Mule. And the reason why I'm showing you this is if a sticker company is helping you create thumbnails, it tells you where society is going as far as its viewing habits. They're not looking to be a specialist in thumbnails, but they're making you, if you create a thumbnail, you could also order the stickers. they see a huge future and a huge market for them. And for us as creators, that's really important to know. Like, hey, having a show is a really big deal, and a lot of people are getting into the mix. If you want to learn on a weekly basis what's going on, we do have a newsletter. It's called the Podfest Messenger. If you go to podfestmessenger.com, just um, opt in. Every week we release a newsletter. You'll see here we have all the archives of the past. So it'll keep you trending on what's going on in the world of podcasting, how you can be a better creator. But make sure to subscribe. Our newsletter it gets viewed by everybody. When you release your first podcast, email us and we'll promote it to our database of thousands and thousands of creators that read this every week. All right, some bonus tips. Podmatch.com is a really great tool to use for you to find guests as a podcast host, or even for people to find you to be a guest on their podcast to promote your podcast. So podmatch.com. And then if you need a website, podpage.com. If you have an RSS, meaning you register with Apple to have an ID for your podcast, Podpage will help you create an instant website. I use Podpage for meditatedaily.com for a show I have. It's the easiest way to get a website up if you don't want to like hire someone and build a website. Many of our creators use podpage.com. Bonus. I have a YouTube show called Parrot Baby. It's Parrot Baby 777, and I talk about the world of birds. I show people, like you'll see here, the tutorials. I had a pied blue and gold macaw I found in a pet store. That got thousands of views. I educate people how to avoid scams in the bird world. I show them how to hand feed baby birds. So it's really giving me a lot of meaning to support people and help. But you'll see in the thumbnails, I created the one with the parrot scams through artificial intelligence. The rest are very simple, just some graphics, keep shorts on my phone of my birds. And that for me keeps me very active. We do have, for those of you looking to get into video in a heavy way, especially animal creators, I highly recommend a video avenue if you're going to create a podcast. We will have VidFest Expo in Atlanta, Georgia, 21st, 23rd. If you just go to vidfestexpo.com, we'd love to see you there. It'll be a solo track event, about 500
All right. Looks
creators.
like you're gonna be
It'll
up,
be
Mike, in a
amazing.
few. It's almost done, actually.
And then Mike, I met Mike through Podfest, so I'm really grateful to Mike. The last tip I'll share, Mike, and then we'll wrap it up, is make sure you're delivering on the brand promise of your show. So this is a creator. His name is Scott Johnson. He created the show What Was That Like? Real people in unreal situations. I saw him start this show. He had 8 people listening the first couple weeks, and then he slowly grew it. Now he has thousands upon thousands of people that listen to each episode all over the world. He's one of the largest shows in the world. But I'll give you a setup of a show. He had a gentleman by the name of James who went down to Colombia and got involved with the wrong people. James got involved with the wrong people, and then he was smuggling 5 cocaine condoms on the plane over to Miami. As he was flying into Miami, one of them ruptured in his rectum, and he woke up in a coma. When he woke up from his coma, he was handcuffed to the bed, hospital bed. He was then arrested for being a drug mule. So what was that like? Real people in unreal situations. So Scott finds these crazy, unique stories, and he features them on his show. So if you're going to create a show, you have to ask yourself, what is my brand promise? Scott literally named his show The Brand Promise. When you're listening to his shows, you're thinking to yourself, what was that like? So what is your brand promise? For instance, if I'm doing a Parrot Baby show, my brand promise is to educate people about the husbandry of parrot keeping and raising baby parrots, as well as the business of it. All right. So those are the 3 things. If I'm not in that wheelhouse, if I'm doing a Parrot Baby video, instead I'm just talking about chameleons, I'm not serving that promise. And we see a lot of people sometimes do that. They start with the brand promise and then they veer off, and then they wonder why their show is not growing. So please make sure that you keep everything to your brand promise. But that's my bit. The only thing I would ask you guys to do, one is join us at VidFest, vidfestexpo.com, August 21st to 23rd. And also, if anyone's a bird creator, reach out to me, info@parrotbaby.com. Would love to talk to you. And then make sure to subscribe to our newsletter. This is an informational newsletter. It gets sent out once a week, every Wednesday. All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap.
All right, Mike, I'm gonna put you on screen. Three, two, one.
Thanks so much, Chris. That was very, very, very educational. I know I took a ton of notes myself, and I'm hoping you guys grab something out of that as well. Like I said, man, a lot of education, a lot of actionable steps. That's going to do it for this first session. Really appreciate everybody tuning into it. Really appreciate you. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
Mike.